Hey, got any grapes? Yeah, loads. Let's make some wine.
Our garden is a bit of a sun trap, so I planted this vine to give us some shade. As a bonus, it gives us grapes.
Okay, I've got my bucket ready. Time to get picking, I guess.
You guessed right, buddy. But it takes a while, so while you're picking all those grapes, here's a little fun fact about wine. Whether it turns out red or white is mainly determined by whether you leave the skins of the grapes on or not during fermentation. But anyone who's ever tried peeling a grape will probably realise that I'm going to try to make red, although it will likely turn out more like rosé as it did last year. Now, I prefer beer, to be honest, so I rarely buy wine, but these grapes have far too many seeds to make eating them enjoyable, and I don't want to waste them. Plus, there's a lot of them, as you can see, so here we are, 4 hours of getting sore fingers while Marvin Gaye and Nancy Sinatra play on repeat in my head.
Well, that's actually a lot more grapes than I thought I was going to have. But I guess that just means more wine. But I'm not going to have enough space to do it in this little boy, John here. So I'm going to ferment some of them in one of the buckets. Time now to squish them all up and leave them for a couple of days. But when I did this last time, when I was squishing them, I used my hands. And afterwards I had like burns on my hands, like acid burns. So this time I'm going to rubber up. I'm going to use protection because I don't want to have any accidents. I'm going to leave them to ferment with their natural yeast. If you have a look on some of the grapes, they've got like white on the outside. That's the natural yeast. So I'm going to use that instead of adding anything, which means I don't need to wash them before, so bonus. It's actually a pretty simple process making wine. Once I've squeezed all the grapes, I just need to add some sugar for the yeast to feed on. That's what this honey here is for. Then I need to take out all the bits that I don't want and then basically just leave it and it will turn to wine, I hope. As long as no bacteria or anything gets in there, should be good.
Right, so what I did here is pull all of the individual grapes off their individual stalks, which again took quite a long time. I then poured some of the grapes into the second bucket because I thought there'd be a bit of a squeeze in one and it would make it a lot easier for me to crush them in 2 buckets. Now, if, like me, you also prefer beer to wine, but you'd like to have a glass of wine from time to time, I've got a little rhyme for you. Beer before wine, you'll feel fine. Wine before beer, great idea!
Well, this is after about 15-20 minutes of squishing and popping those grapes. It's pretty satisfying, to be honest. When you find a grape, it's like a mix between bubble wrap and a poppet. It's what poppets wish they could be. It's really nice to squish them, but it takes forever. And every time I put my hand in, I find more grapes that need to be squished, more juice that could be turned to wine. But yeah, I think I'm ready to move on to the next one. Well, I'm working on the second bowl now, and I'm crushing it, really going through them quickly. It smells lovely, by the way. It smells like fresh bubble gum, but nice, if that makes sense. The recipe did say to add a certain amount of honey, but it also said it depends on how sweet your grapes are, so I guess we'll add about this much. And if it's not sweet enough, we'll add some more. If it's too sweet, well, there's no such thing as too sweet, is there? I had to go away for a few days, unfortunately, so I haven't had a chance to check on the grapes, and I didn't get a chance to stir this, which is a must, but I'm happy to say it has not gone mouldy, although it smells like a brewer's bathroom in here. It is very pungent, but that's a good thing, I guess. The yeast is doing its job. What I need to do now is to remove all the solids. So I'm going to take a good snoop in the bucket, and I want no seeds, no stems, no sticks. All of that stuff's going to go in the empty bucket, and then I'm going to siphon the liquid into the demijohn.
As well as scooping out the skins, and yes, the handle broke, I also poured the liquid through a sieve a couple of times to get it ready for the siphoning.
Right, so here's the plan. The carboy is sitting on the floor there. We're going to use this tube to siphon that liquid from that bucket into the carboy and then wait about 9 months to a year for it to mature. So I thought before we did that, we could try something a bit immature and maybe have a little sample, see what we're looking forward to. So let's try and siphon a bit into the glass there. And see what it tastes like. That tastes like wine. Not very strong, very sweet and lovely flavour from the grapes. Look forward to that in a year. Cheers.
This is only the second time I've ever made wine, although I have made elderflower champagne many times before, and I'll be making some more again in the spring, which is when this wine should be ready, so that will be a cause for champagne.
Alright, that's all of it. That's not quite as much as I thought it'd be, to be honest. Maybe I shouldn't have had that sample. Now it's time to put the airlock on. Need to put some water in it and then leave it for 9 months. Alright, it's the first day, so I thought I'd give you a quick update. The liquid in there is really bubbling, so it's still fermenting, but the airlock is doing a good job. It's not letting anything go inside, but it's letting that gas escape. And I tell you, that gas has a very strong smell. It's like a sommelier summer house in here. It's really, really smelly. But that's a good thing, I think, because it smells like wine, and that means that we're going to have something good after 9 months. It's amazing, really, if you think about it, that all that's in this glass is almost all that's needed to make what's soon to be in this glass. It's natural sugars, natural yeast, natural juice and natural flavours from the grapes. And that turns into a drink that's enjoyed by millions of people and has been for thousands of years. I didn't even need to heat it or cook it, I just had to crush the grapes and keep bacteria around. So compare that to some of the drinks we sometimes buy in the shops that come in plastic bottles, that have been manufactured, they've got chemicals added, preservatives added to make them last longer. And they still won't last as long as this drink right here. It's how wonderful nature can be. I like to think sometimes about the first people who made wine. Did they just notice a smell and think, oh yeah, I'll try drinking that? It's why I love doing things like this. It puts me in touch with nature, it gets me closer to the world and to history. It's no wonder that our ancestors had a god of wine. And I think that he would back us in making and enjoying this magical drink. Cheers.